I forgot to tell Jonathan about the jean jacket memo.
No, he didn't get the memo.
All right, and I've got to eat the mic.
Yeah.
I already told my husband, a lot of you already heard him, that is Jim Lambright here. But I said, do the thing, eat the mic if I have to. So you heard a lot about me, and one of the things, well, first of all, I want to give it back to Jay and Ashley. I heard that Lauren gave them recognition. This is their brainchild. Like literally, I can remember a couple years ago, they wanted to do these regional rallies, which are now international. Thousands of people are getting help, so let's give it back to them.
Yeah.
And then I want to thank you guys. Reason being is, I'm not a public speaker. So thanking you for giving me a little bit of grace and the ability to work on myself and some personal growth here. Let's try this clicking thing. There we go. So these are some quick stats. We heard a lot of them. I was number 69 out of 88,000 agents last year as an independent agent. I sold 62 homes. You were close with the 26 million. I was the Ohio Agent Advisory Chair for 2 years and just got nominated to the National AAC Council. I'm a 7-time icon. And you're not reading that wrong. I have been selling real estate since the 1900s, which looked a little different then. I think I was about 22 in that photo, and I did give myself the sticker for the first selfie ever. But times have changed in the last 28 years for me, and I am here to tell you that don't think that you have to be 28 years in the business to put those numbers you just saw, because what I want to teach you guys, it may not be polished, but it's going to be authentic, if that's okay, because I did a rebuild. So the numbers you saw I did in the last 5 years with EXP, and I did it organically with no money spent. So hopefully I can bring some of that message to you guys. So a little bit about why it looks different is, we have amazing mentors in our upline, and that's something that I bought into, especially in the last couple of years, is giving back. So Jim is amazing. I am a solo agent. He works on our agent attraction. We got 173 partners under us. I call them my real estate kiddos. These are just a couple of them. But the most important one is up here in the Philadelphia Eagles jersey, Jay, we finally got the call. My son is 25 and finally said, Mom, how do I start those real estate classes?
Yes!
Put it to work.
I'm going to. But it was, so part of the reason I said yes to Ashley is those 170 some kiddos under me, I do pour into them, and I thought maybe I can give some of that back to you guys. So these are my stats. And just being real, my first 21 years in business, I had kind of met a natural ceiling. I think some people refer to it as a glass ceiling. And that 10 million was kind of where I was at. But I had stepped into it, late 2018, this thing came into our lives called EXP. And in Ohio, there was less than 100 agents, and in Central Ohio, I think there was 2 that I didn't even know of. So it's kind of EXP who, right? So that 2019, it was more learning, hoping, praying. When I woke up in the morning, my email still worked, that world and avatar thing still worked, and it was still there. But in 2020, I really bought into what EXP has at our fingertips. And that was the mentorship and the training. None of my other brokers in the 21 years had ever, even my brokers and agents in my office had opened up their playbooks to tell me how to sell more than that 10 million. And when I bought into that and I dove into that, I went into what I like to call my build mode, because I redid my business. And in 5 years, I went from 9.8 million to that 26 million that you're seeing last year. And I want to tell you, I know there's some great people out there that do all this stuff, but I didn't do this stuff. And I will be the first to tell you if there's any real estate coaches in here, which there was in Cincinnati, and I got reamed. I'm not good at scheduling. I don't time block. I don't follow a system. I don't pay anybody anything.
I love you.
Right? Every time I would sit in one of these audiences and I would hear someone talk about what they were doing, they had all that. They had the systems. They were time blocking. They were paying somebody, and I knew that wasn't me. So I do social media, which we're going to talk about, but not in the form of posting, videoing, and stuff like that. If you see one, it's because my husband literally, he's great at it. You guys all know him. If raccoons, you know raccoons. That's Jim Lambright, the raccoon realtor. But I might do a 30-second video because he knows I'm going to a closing. I'm not in it. I don't pay for leads. I still to this day don't pay for leads. Networking, like I said, he's good at it. He's built our downline, but it's not where that 10 million to 26 million came from. These are the areas that I decided to focus on because EXP put them in my fingertips for one. Revenos. Who's heard of Revenos in here? I know we talked about it a little bit. Who uses Revenos? Is there anybody that doesn't use Revenos? Can I ask why? Is it the referral fee? A lot of times I hear that in our downline even. They don't want to pay. Revenos comes with a pretty hefty referral fee at the end. I'm going to switch that mindset a little bit because that's how I did that. That's the majority of where I built that 10 million to 26 million. And we're talking about database, sphere, and niches all go together. So I don't have time to go into Revenos. Just know that it's like corporate America when corporate has departments like accounting, HR, and stuff like that. Revenos is our department for lead generation. Okay, there's a lot of stuff under it. Penny Mac, Chase Mortgage, Home Story, there's just too much. Workplace, if you want to hear more about it, that's where you find it. Sorry, Ashley, there I go. Oh, no, well, that's that. Holy cow, we went too fast, Ashley. All right, we're giving away that, we just gave away we gave away all the punchlines. Hopefully you didn't see that, no, it's okay. I want to play a would you game, and I want you to raise your hand, I want you to be honest. If you got a call from Revenos that said, hey, we have a $160,000 buyer, will you take it for a 50% referral? Who's taking that deal? All right, keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. If they said, oh, by the way, they're only paying a 2% buyer broker with a 50% referral, who's doing that deal? Okay, we lost a couple of them. What if it was an hour and 10 minutes one way to show houses? Who's doing that deal? We lost a bunch. So that deal was a buyer that happened with me about a year and a half ago. Her name was Jody. I forgot to tell you that I had to take 3 trips, an hour each way. We saw 7 houses, wrote 3 deals, had to do 2 lenders because Jody lost her financing halfway through and I had to hook her up with another lender. And they pulled in a co-signer, it was her mom named Rose. So my check was $905 after paying my 20%, my amazing TC, which I will tell you I'm a solo agent. That's the other thing I have, and definitely had a TC that gives you so much leverage. So who would have done that deal for $905? There's so many hands? I love you guys, you're my peoples. Anybody that said no to that, this is the mind shift I want to change a little bit. So I got this text, and this is a true text that came March 2nd, so just a few weeks ago. It said, hey Stacey, this is Rose. You worked with my daughter Jody in finding her home in New Holland. Robert and I are thinking about downsizing. Would like to talk with you, no rush. So remember when I said they added a co-signer and it was Rose? So I got on the phone with Rose, and Rose now has a fiance. She wants to sell her single family. They're in contract on the condo, and then when they close, we're gonna be selling Robert's house. So it was $1.5 million that I don't owe to a referral broker. And it gets even better. So because here's what I want. Here's the mind shift. If any of you, and take in mind too, Revenos could be swapped out for Opcity, Redfin, all those high-paying at the end thing. Which, if you stick around and get your phones out, I'm going to give you 30 of them that pay at closing. So if you take that mind shift and you stop thinking of it as a lead and think of it as a relationship. So Revenos gave me a relationship that they said, here's a one-time fee that you're gonna have to pay us. But if you take Jody and turn her into a lifelong client, if she buys 5 houses for you in the next 10 years, you don't ever owe me anything. And if she sends you, that is amazing. That's the mind shift, because I was in build mode. I knew that I was really good with people when I sold $10.8 million a year, but I needed more people, and I didn't want to pay for them. You know, I wasn't good at going out and asking at social media and doing that stuff. So when you get that mind shift, they say, oh, if Jody wants to hand you her mom, who wants to give you a 1.5 million, that's the mind shift change. And but the next thing I want to talk about is, so they're giving you people to turn into your database, but what's the difference between it? Do people think the database and the sphere are 2 different things? Yes, I do. Reason being is database to me, it is an Excel spreadsheet. It's a numbers, it's an address, it's a percentage, I'm tracking stuff, right? But your whole goal is to take that lead that went into your database. And here's the thing, There's a lot of you, there's a lot of us, and hopefully nobody in here, especially after today, talking about this. We all treat that lead differently. If you look at Jody as a $905 paycheck, and you have to do all this work to do it, there's a lot of people that say it isn't worth it, and they miss that opportunity. And it's not that and there's no guilt in it, it's just we haven't had that mind shift change, because it is a lot of work. That was a lot of drive time, a lot of work. My 3 tanks of gas that weren't factored into that $905, it makes sense, but switch that mindset. Another example, this is Gil, Patricia, and Gianna. So Gianna was one when we first met them. If you don't know, EXP has the union contract for the air traffic controllers. So we got a call from Revenues that said, hey, we have an air traffic controller, his name's Gil, he's gonna be relocating down to Atlanta. We met them, fell in love with them. We took them from Revenues, we took that relationship from Revenues, even though they were leaving, and statistically probably wasn't going to get another deal from them. We put them in our database, but then we put them into our sphere. That's the difference. So sphere is when someone moves into my sphere, your family. At that point, they're moving into my social media, they're getting text messages from me, they're getting emails from me, because one of the, and I'm probably getting ahead of my slides, so forgive me a little bit. With Gil and Patricia, I'm gonna stop because I am getting ahead. With Gil and Patricia and Gianna, we got a call from them just a few weeks ago that said, hey, Stacey, we hate Atlanta, we're coming back. Can you help us find someone to sell our house in Atlanta? Yeah. Will you help us buy the house in Columbus? Absolutely. So again, 2.5 years later, I missed that part probably. So no referral fee. And we cut poor Brad off up there. How that happened. And he's a great guy too. I'm sad that that's me and not him. So EXP also is one of Chase's biggest referral partners, if you didn't know this. Again, this is all under that Revenues. If you don't know about it, know about it. You have to get certified. It's very easy. It's at your fingertips. It's at EXPCon. But I get this call from Chase that says, hey, we have this qualified buyer. And that's the thing. When Chase gives us a deal, they are pre-approved. They are waiting on you because they have vetted them and told them unless you use Stacey, or if you don't use Stacey, you don't get your benefits that comes to them. So Brad was awesome. He was 70 years old. If he loved a house, we spent an hour in it. If he hated a house, we spent an hour in it. And then we talked for an hour afterwards, that kind of thing. But he was a sweetheart. But here's the thing about Brad. He was 70 years old, had never owned a house before. So when you stop treating people like dollar signs and start realizing the relationships that you're building and you're moving them into your sphere and into your family, things change. That was a picture from our closing table, even though his head was on it. Last week, we just closed last week, and he said to me, Stace, I want to talk to your people. And the first thing I thought of that was, oh crap, what did I do wrong? You want to talk to my broker? He goes, no, I want to talk to your people because I want to tell them about the journey with you. He called our home purchase a journey for him. And that's the part we're missing when people keep thinking about these Revenues, leads coming in, that these are relationships and these are people, and this is how you build your business. Oh, probably got through that. That was where I got ahead anyway, so we're okay there. Are you backwards one now? There we go, got it. So, again, Revenues, Jody, Rose, Gil, Patricia, Robert, move them over to my database. Absolutely put them in my sphere. And some people, I don't know about you guys, some people do stay in my database. They don't move to my sphere by choice. Very few people, but that happens sometimes. But when you do start putting the work in with them, and that's the thing I want to talk about, because my mind shift too, when I was doing the 10 million at my natural ceiling without coaching, stuff that I took advantage of with EXP, I started showing up at in-person events just like this, started getting the mentorship and the training. I was never really on purpose with working my sphere, and we started doing that. And what I realized when I did that with some of the coaching that I was taking, we started turning them into super fans. And I like to call a super fan, that is someone, our business now runs 80-90% repeat referral business, that 26 million, because that 5 million, not all of that was that build mode. But when you're a super fan of someone that's sitting in, the grocery store line, at the, family cookout, and someone just mentions buying or selling real estate, and your name rolls off their lip. You've got to call Stacey. She took great care of me. She'll help you. That's your super fans. And then of course, lifelong clients. I'll let you do it. So when I started doing this, literally, I was like, that's my little build person, if you like that there. I was in build. None of this, my numbers automatically started growing each year. And the last one to tie in is niches. And niches can be passions, church, nonprofit, wherever you are spending your time, that you enjoy doing stuff, you're with people that are like-minded and that are outside of your real estate world. So I like bourbon. That was me that brought the Woodford Reserve.
Jump over here and I'm like,
well, that's because don't tell anybody, but I had a drink before I got up here.
yeah!
If you see me go to the back of the room, that's what I was doing. I am the Ohio ambassador for the Buckeye Women's Bourbon Council, or for the National Bourbon Women Council. I started the Buckeye Bourbon Babes, and I just started my first YouTube series. It's called Bourbons and Builds, blending my two worlds together. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So prior to, and, like I said, doing real estate for 28 years, I don't know about you, but I had this really icky feeling about going to like my son's soccer game and saying, hey, can I sell your house? There was just something about not blending it that made me feel funny about it. And someone doing more than me and was doing better than me through the EXP training and stuff that's at our fingertips taught me people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And what better than people that already aligned with you, whether it's your church, the nonprofit, the animal rescues, which I love you for saying that, Lauren, we're definitely in that world. Or in my case, bourbon world. So these are real, this mind shift change, because what I do is I start getting on purpose. In my groups with the bourbon, I started putting up little things. I wasn't being real direct with asking for business, but I would put up memes like, hey, guess who gives the best referral gifts? Or guess who gives the best closing gifts? And I started getting phone calls. So I just putting stuff up every once in a while on my Facebook groups, private groups and stuff like that. This is Maggie in the white. She just closed on a $1.1 million new build with me last year.
Nice.
That's Michelle up in the corner. She's done 5 deals with me in 3 years. 10 down here in the red is my true bourbon only connection. He saw me in the groups, he saw one of my memes, he just happened to see it, and at that time, and here's where you have to be on purpose. Everybody's timing is different, and sometimes it's just being repetitive and hitting them at the right time. I had just put up a meme about guess who gives the best closing gifts, and he sent me a message right away and said, hey, I was just talking to my father-in-law last night, he's thinking about selling, do you want to talk to him? $1 million deal. You can't see it real well, but that's my Woodford Reserve barrel pick team that we're going to talk about. And that guy gave me 1 referral, and she's doing 3 transactions. We closed on 1 last week, and we're in contract on 2 others. So blend your worlds. And I'm here talking about production, but agent attraction is big, right, with EXP. So you can blend it with your agents too. Every agent in Central Ohio knows me as the bourbon. The bourbon
Queen.
Realtor, Bourbon Queen Realtor. So that was one of my goals, was to be on the Columbus Real Producers cover, which happened last year. So that's
Nice.
definitely letting my road.
Yeah.
So that 5 years of growth, all I did was take advantage of adding people to my sphere. I already knew I could work the relationships, and when I moved them over there, when I moved Jody, Gil, Rose, Patricia, all of them over into my database and then into my sphere and started working that. You go ahead, Ash. Go ahead and click again. But when I started working that, super vans, there you go. So that is literally how I built my business. Nothing else. Here's the thing. I was on purpose though. It seems pretty easy. And you might even be thinking about, I already do that stuff, but do you really? Like, I committed to rebuild my business and add more people to it. So it was work, it wasn't money. I wasn't really paying money. I did buy a lot of bourbon. But that's how I grew my market. So if you guys will pull out your phones, this is something for you guys. I got a couple things for you guys. I do want to bring you guys into my sphere because obviously there was a little bit more work in that 9 to 26 million. I'm happy to talk to anybody, especially if you're in that build mode and you want to increase your business. But if you, QR code should take you to that Bourbon and Builds. It is a brand new YouTube series. So like it, anybody that subscribes and signs up for notifications when I do put my first video up, we're actually going to be raffling off one of these amazing bottles, which there is a story to it. There is a story to it. So let's connect. Absolutely. You'll find me on there. You'll be able to find me on through social media. Here are the 30 pay at closing sites. So take a picture of that. A lot of them are big names that we already know, but there's a lot of small ones that people don't know. And guess what? If they're small, even if they don't have a lot of leads, if you're the only one in the area, guess who gets them? So I can tell you that is how, along with Revenos, that I started adding people to I took that lead that I turned into a relationship. It's my job to turn it into a relationship. I turned it into a lifelong client, a referral partner, a super fan. So this, I've been training. I just got my first coach. And he is out of EXP. He's awesome, John Kitchens. But he's been working with me the last few months. And let me tell you something. When Ashley called me to come up here and talk, she put the call in when you come down here. My first answer was not only no, it was hell no. My second answer was, if Jim Lambright can be on stage with me.
Yep.
And you said,
that hell no.
She said he can sit in the back. True story. So I'm talking through because I'm nervous as hell about doing this. Raising, this is my first public speaking thing.
Yeah!
So I've been working on it for a few weeks with my coach, and the one thing he said to me, he said, Stacey, this was not a quote that he gave me, he just said it to me, but it resonated. He said, the bigger the platform you build for yourself, the more you can give and the more you can do.
That's right.
And that was like, that's what I already do with my kiddos and what I want to do for you guys and help you want to reach out to me, absolutely, and help. But to take it a little bit further, Ash, when I get me on, it's not working. So last year, a little bit about my record-breaking last year. That was a record-breaking year for me in 2000. What do we have? That was 24, right? With 26 million. I took a call from the Leukemia Lymphoma Society in fall of 2023, and they said, hey, we're going to pick 10 local women, and we're going to do a challenge, which I'm very competitive. I think someone asked, Lauren must be my, we're like sisters from another mister. There you are. I'm very competitive. I love giving back. I'm good at fundraising. And I love to blend my two roles. You see up here, everything I did with this 10-week challenge, because I accepted it. I said, absolutely, I'll go up against 9 other women and raise money for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I didn't know that 10 weeks was in the spring market. I don't know about Nashville, but it snows a lot in Ohio. And the spring market for us, we do 60% of our business in the spring market because everybody's pent up and comes out swinging. I still did it. I was able to put because I had been in work mode and I had done so much with what we just talked about, building those relationships, taking advantage of where I can build my sphere through EXP and other sources, I was able to put my business on autopilot. And they asked me, they said, what's your goal? And I said, I'm gonna raise $25,000. They said, no, we think you can raise 50. So I did raise the $51,249 in 10 weeks for the Lymphoma Society. And what was really awesome was the 10 ladies, we did $317,000 for the Lymphoma Society in 10 weeks. I did choose to blend my worlds, where I brought in the bourbon world to raise my money. So this is the barrel that you guys are gonna get, or a bottle. I get a barrel, you're getting a bottle. So remember, the more you can give, the bigger the platform you build for yourself, the more you can give. Majority of my support was from my sphere, my family, my real estate family, whether that was a buyer, a seller, affiliate partner. So I wholeheartedly believe that. And remember, Brad, when you stop thinking about you and the dollar signs, even if you need that money, we all need the money at some point, especially more than others at times. It just takes off for you. I'm here to tell you that with those numbers. One more, Ash. There you go. And then Melissa gave it away a little bit, but that's okay. So the other thing about that record-breaking year last year was we did spend 3 months on our little rock that we like to call we call our rock St. Croix. That's our kiddo coming to visit us. So I wholeheartedly believe, this is what I'm gonna leave you with, Ash. If you go into that build mode, do the work, build the relationships, build a platform to give back, do more for others than you do for yourself, and it'll come threefold. And I want you to build a life worth living. So thank you.
Great job. Great job. Great job.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stacey. Okay, guys. Oh my gosh, wasn't she amazing?
Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Time to ever